xây tương thân tình trong đạo Phật, tùy khác màu nhưng một tôn sư. Hôm nay đây cùng nhau họp mặt, quyết noi theo đường Phật giáo Hoàng Dương.
Nam Mô A Di Đà Phật. Welcome to Song Noi Song Phật. My name is Sekchu Ung Tri, and today I have with me Thai Ung Min, and we're here to discuss about Dharma. And so today, with the topic of impermanence, obviously with our bodies, we're constantly changing, but at some point in time, our bodies will be gone, such as means we will live our last of lives with this life. So learning that, it's kind of depressing that knowing that, we're going to pass away one day, and knowing that our friends and family will pass away one day. Is there anything in Buddhism that helps us cope with, first of all, the death with ourselves that will eventually happen?
No, that's an actually, it's a great question, but at the same time, it's also a very advanced question. The Buddha taught that in this life, each and every one of us has to go through 4 different stages. He taught that each and every one of us go through birth, old age, sickness, and death. And like exactly what you said, you said that knowing that we're all going to pass away, just thinking about that is pretty depressing.
Yeah.
Right? But we have to understand that this is something that's very natural. And when we understand the laws of impermanence, that everything constantly changes, that if there's a start, there's a finish. If there's a beginning, there's an ending. If there is birth, there's going to be death. But the Buddha taught that death is not the ending, but rather the beginning. We'll just give an example. He taught that when we die, we lose this physical body, right? But our consciousness moves forward depending on our karma. It can be explained this way. If I were to have a bucket of water and I leave it outside in the sun, right? By the beginning of the day, by the beginning of the day, it's full. By the end of the day, it's half empty. Why?
Half empty because of the heat that interacts with the water to make it turn into steam.
It evaporated.
Yes.
Now, if we touch water, it's wet. Water exposed to a heat source evaporating to steam. You touch steam, it's wet, right? Water exposed to a colder climate condenses into ice. You touch ice, it's wet.
Again.
3 different forms. It's a solid, liquid, and a gas, but the essence of it is wet. The essence here can be compared to our consciousness. Whether it's a solid, liquid, or gas, it's just a different form like this physical body. So when the Buddha said that when we die, we lose this physical body, but our consciousness moves forward depending on our karma. Karma is another word for the laws of cause and effect. That for every action that we do always has a specific reaction. That is, if you do good, you'll get good. If you do bad, you get bad. So if we understand just the nature of the laws of impermanence, for example, you breathe in and breathe out. Is that the same breath?
All right, it's different breath from in and out.
Different breath from in and out. You breathe in what?
You breathe in oxygen.
But you breathe out?
Carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide. So just at the subtle moment in the body, the breath changes. Right? And so when we see this constant change of this body, someone who understands and realizes the Dharma would not be attached to this body. Right? Being attached to this body is kind of like saying you have a block of ice, and then you confess your love to this block of ice. Right? But this block of ice can only maintain its frozen state if it's in what condition?
If it's in a cold condition.
In a cold condition. If I were to take this block of ice and I were to leave it outside in the sun, in an hour I come back, will the block of ice still be there?
Probably not.
Probably not. It'll melt into water. Right? So this body of ours, we're born into this world. We grow. We grow from a little kid into an adult. But eventually, from an adult, we're going to wither away into an older person, and one day we're going to pass away. That is something that we cannot change. It's one of the fundamental laws of the universe. That if there is birth, there is death. If there is a beginning, there's an ending. if there's a start, there's a finish. Right? So those who understand the Dharma would not attach themselves to this body, but rather use this body as a vessel to practice the Dharma and to help share the Dharma. That way, when someone that we love is entering an old age, when we share them the Dharma, they might be able to achieve enlightenment that they won't be caught up in the cycle of birth, old age, sickness, and death.
So is there any way for us to, because I read an article about a monk, and this monk was in an airplane, and in the airplane they saw the engine or the thing started to go on fire. So everyone's freaking out, you know, but he took this moment as to be mindful. But everyone around his age and older obviously were freaking out. This is our time to die. But then he noticed one curious thing. He noticed that the children, they didn't really care what was going on. They were just playing their games and laughing and stuff. So like, what do you think is the difference from that childlike mind that's kind of carefree about it into a more adult, mature mind that seems like, oh, this is going to be the end of my days, and be all fearful and frightened? Like, how do we get back that childlike letting go of, you know, that inevitable moment? Like, how do we achieve that?
It's more of like, I don't think the children would understand what's going on.
Oh, so it's mostly ignorance factor.
So it's more like an ignorance factor, right? Those who are aware, like the adults, when they saw that the engine's failing, they freak out.
Yeah.
Because everyone's afraid of death.
Yeah.
But the monk chose that particular time to observe mindfulness.
Yeah, he said it was his chance to make his mind as pure or to understand impermanence just that much for his next life, maybe to have a deeper understanding.
And so that's what it is. The point of the Dharma is how we live is how we're going to die. If you live your life in negativity, if you live your life just harming others and being in a position just to create chaos for others, then unfortunately, the moment when you're going to pass away, you're going to be facing a lot of chaos, a lot of negativity. But if you live your life spreading love, spreading joy, spreading happiness, if you live your life just being very positive at all times and learning how to, what we call it, respond rather than to react, because things are going to happen around us. It's how we learn how to respond to whatever happens to us that defines whether we fail or we succeed. And we have to learn how to respond in a way that we're always in control of our mind. That's why the monk, even though he knows that the engine's blown up, and there's a chance that he might die, when you freak out, you lose control of your thought.
Right.
When you lose control of your thought, you lose control of your mind, then the moment of death, you have no exactly where you're going. But even if you know you're going to die, but you use that moment to achieve mindfulness, have control of your thought at all times.
Yes.
So when we die, we lose this physical body. Our consciousness move forward depending on our karma. The karma at the moment of death, when you have control of your mind, is what kind of karma?
The karma that you have in control is
it negative karma or positive karma?
Yeah, obviously positive karma.
Positive karma. So at the moment of death, you plant a positive seed.
Even after that.
Even up to the moment of death, you plant a positive seed. That seed is enough to help you move forward into a better life.
Wow. Yeah, because I would assume, like, you don't really get tested, you know, like life doesn't just hand you this, you know, and then this day, you're going to be prepared. So, like, be mindful of this scary thing happening, you know, because this is to be the day that you die. We're kind of always, we're thrusted in this world without knowing, without being enlightened, without knowing what's the next moment going to be for us, whether it's like maybe as sudden as a car crash that's not your fault, or any disaster of a sickness or something. So you think hoping to cope with it, to train our mind, but twofold also to understand the fundamental laws of Buddhism helps us cope with and give us hope for the future. Because as we understand clearer and know the rules of cause and effect and so forth, what kind of things can we expect as, maybe in Buddhism we don't expect rewards, but what rewards do you think we would in turn have if we live a life that's calm here and thereafter? Because we don't know afterwards what would happen during death, of course, but what would happen
No, you're right. We don't know what's going to happen in our life, but we always have a way to plant the seeds of positive karma. That, in a way, we're going to reap the benefits from it. Of course, we have no idea, but if we were to do good, if we were just to think positive thoughts and say positive things, eventually we're going to reap the benefits from it. But unfortunately, right now, the time has ended and we're about to reach our commercial break. But after the commercial break, we will move forward and I will answer this question in a more detailed manner. We'll wait for you after the commercial break. Thank you so much.
世間thân